the story of my family, where everything is f***ed up. In the fading light of a dusty afternoon, where the sun itself seemed to wither under the weight of the past, I found myself sifting through the tangled memories of a family burdened by silence. My brother and I had been raised by shadows. The absence of our mother lingered like a ghost in every room, while our father, with his glassy-eyed detachment and bottles of rum, became a figure who hovered at the edges of our lives, more phantom than parent. When our stepmother arrived, I was still young enough to believe that salvation might come in the form of a kind smile or gentle hands. She was just 26, barely more than a girl herself, and though she was meant to be a mother to us, she was more like an older sister who played at being an adult. She brought with her a strange warmth, one that was both comforting and unsettling, as if she knew that the only way to survive our father's indifference was to create her own universe within the crumbling walls of our home. The years that followed were full of contradictions. From the outside, we were a family like any other, with dinners and holidays and the birth of our half-sister, who became the golden child, untouched by the storm that brewed beneath the surface. But within our home, my brother, already lost in the ache of our mother's abandonment, was drifting. He moved through the days as though pulled by some invisible current, while our father, his heart hardened by drink, slipped further into his own abyss. I did what I could. I tried to be a wall between my brother and our father's anger, tried to hold together what little we had left. But the threads of our lives were already frayed. My brother, searching for comfort in a house that had none to offer, turned to our stepmother in ways that made me fear the depth of his loneliness. And then the inevitable happened. I was 18 when I walked into that room. I had come home from college, hoping for some respite from the weight I'd been carrying, only to find the two of them, my brother and our stepmother, entangled in a way that shattered the fragile illusion of normalcy I had clung to. In that moment, the world shifted. The air in the room became thick, suffocating, as if the truth itself had taken on a physical form. My brother's eyes met mine, and in them, I saw the desperation of a boy who had lost his way long ago. He begged me to stay silent. He feared our father's wrath, feared what would happen if the delicate balance of our broken home was disrupted. And so I swallowed my anger, my disgust, and I agreed, because I could see that my brother was not acting out of malice, but out of a need to feel something, anything, that wasn't the hollow ache of abandonment. 4 years, we lived with this secret, the poison of it seeping into every interaction, every glance. My brother convinced himself that what they shared was love, that they could escape together, free from the ruins of our family. But nothing ever came of his dreams. He was trapped, as much a victim of his own mind as of the circumstances that had shaped him. 3 years ago, I dared to hope that he was breaking free. He moved in with me and my boyfriend, distanced himself from our stepmother, and even began to build a life that resembled something like peace. He started dating again, smiled more often, and for a brief moment, I thought we were leaving the darkness behind. But just as quickly as it had come, it all crumbled. He disappeared without warning, cutting all ties, only to return to her, as if the pull of the past was too strong to resist. And then came the news that confirmed my deepest fears. My stepmother was pregnant, and my brother, naive, broken, believed the child was his. I stood on the edge of that revelation, powerless to intervene, as our father, absent as always, claimed the child as his own. The tangled web of our lives had become too knotted to untangle, and I could do nothing but watch as my brother's fate spiraled further into tragedy. Now he lives in the shadow of his choices, a man who has never known peace, but who clings to the small light that his daughter represents. He told me once that she is the only thing that has ever brought him close to happiness. And in that confession, I saw the depth of his sorrow, a man who had been abandoned by everyone he had ever loved, now finding solace in a child who would never know the truth of her origins. As for me, I have learned that there are some battles that cannot be fought, some wounds that cannot be healed. I have shifted my focus to my own life and to the small joy of my half-sister, who spends her days with us, blissfully unaware of the tragedy that surrounds her. I cannot save my brother from the path he has chosen, but I can be here, in the quiet moments when he needs me, hoping against hope that one day he will find a peace that has eluded him for so long. How heavy must the burden be that you have carried for so long, and with such quiet endurance, amid the wreckage of a family torn asunder by neglect and sorrow, to shield your brother from the tempest, while grappling with the guilt and the moral confusion that such an unnatural intimacy has bred within your soul. It is a tragedy that would shake even the strongest heart. It is a cruel testament to how deeply human suffering can contort and distort the bonds of love, turning what should be sacred into something irreparably broken. And yet, through it all, you have managed to forge a life of your own, a fragile peace, while offering refuge to both your brother and sister in their moments of need. This resilience, this capacity for compassion, is nothing short of remarkable, for many would have faltered under the strain long ago. But there comes a time in every life when we must recognize the limits of our strength. You have given more than enough, far more than most would even attempt, and the time has come to relinquish the illusion that you can mend the fractures of a life that is not your own to heal. To seek your own peace is not an abandonment of those you love, but rather a recognition of your own worth, your right to happiness after so many years of sacrifice. And as for your brother, though the path he walks is dark and tangled, there is always hope that, with time, he will emerge from the shadows. But for now, it is enough to know that you have done all you could, and that the rest, as with so many things in this life, is beyond your control.